Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Black Mirror 2. So, last recording, it seemed pretty obvious what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to take the fuse cable and attach it to the dynamite. And what the problem here is that the dynamite is just in the wrong place. And my graphics were doing 1280 by 720, which was the resolution they recommended, and they just didn't place it in a good position at all. So take a look what happens here. You come over to this point and you have dynamite, but if you get just the exact right pixel, you'll see it glows red, indicating that that's where you're supposed to click. So because the inventory is up and that there's no way for it to really not be up, because if I rotate the mouse wheel, that too just happens, you've got to play pixel hunt to click it like that. Otherwise it thinks you're putting it back in the inventory and just cancels.
Okay. Very carefully.
So, almost rage quit because the game is
as soon as electricity flows through the wire, the igniter caps fire, exploding the stick of dynamite. Hopefully that's enough to blast the hatch open.
Like, no fault of the player whatsoever. I totally understand why somebody would rage quit there. That this hatch just needed to be higher. That's all you needed to do. Set it further in the background. Have the safety region. That's what all this foreground garbage means in the first place. And every other scene is nothing down in this section is supposed to be something that you'll have to interact with. I assume I now have to use this with the detonating device. I looked at a walkthrough to double check that was what was needed.
Around the contacts.
And sadly, it kind of indicates that we're maybe only 60% done with this game. Kind of makes sense too.
The wire is connected to the stick of dynamite in the detonator. Everything's ready for the explosion.
So do we want to, maybe shut the hatch? Nope, just set off the detonation. Let's see if I screwed up some way.
I've always wanted to do this.
Sounds like the audio played after the animation happened. And that animation sure did look funky. But it seems like the game is fine. It didn't lock up or soft lock or whatever. Like the lockpicking minigame. There is going to be a serious glut of games on Steam like this, though. They're just not 100% playable as they sit. They have bugs, they need patches, they need updates, and I would not be upset with Valve coming out and saying, look, our games, we require the games actually work. We're getting too many refund requests, too much customers.
If the girder fell down, it would hit the hatch, and one beam, more or less, shouldn't affect its stability. At least I hope it doesn't.
So now he's saying something different. We'll look at the hatch.
The power of the explosion has just dissipated like a little firecracker you light in your hand. I'll have to find another way to open the hatch.
So I seriously doubt you could have done anything different until you had gotten to this point. Valve is dropping support for Windows XP and I guess Windows NT, Windows 2002 pretty soon.
Hopefully the second stick is as sound as the first one.
The idea of some of these older games not being available for sale on Steam just because they haven't been patched might be a good thing. It might force THQ Nordic to hire somebody and have them actually fix a few things. And this would be an easy game to fix, frankly. You don't have to change too much. You don't have to try to make a reboot of the series. It's much more questionable that they made a Black Mirror reboot when a patch, a remaster or something would succeed probably just as well. Alright, so this time,
I hope that works.
is it going to show an animation of him actually placing it up there? Not really. Like, not really at all. Now, of course, this time it's going to be real easy to attach the fuse wire.
Very carefully.
We have all these other items, and I had all these other ideas. And the wire just magically goes up there, even though you didn't see him go up there.
The dynamite should blast the concrete girder from the ceiling once and for all.
Seems like we're almost a little too obsessively, like, trying to get lower when we really just would want to get through this door.
I'll wrap the end of the 2 wires around the contacts again.
Of course, the question is the floor going to give out under me?
Then let's try again. This time it has to work.
Pretty frustrating for a point-and-click adventure to have something not work on the first try. Like, that's generally not what you want. Feels like I'm gonna spend at least an hour in this section too. And then it's just gonna take me back to the city of Willow Creek, and unless they expand it from the hotel and the city, there's not gonna be much I think I can say or do about it. New.
I can't move it, it's too heavy.
Okay, so now I guess we're putting this around the concrete beam. That explains the chain and the rubber buoy. And it inflated at that point, right?
The boat is attached to the chain, which is wrapped around the piece of concrete. That might work.
Am I now attaching this to the rubber dinghy? Nope. It's just can't go down the hatch.
Sure enough, it's penetrated the hatch. There's some kind of pipe down there. It leads downwards. It would be big enough for me, but I can't see where it leads. And I can't squeeze past the piece of concrete.
So let's inflate the rubber dinghy.
And up it goes.
Okay. So now let's look at the hatch, I guess, or go down the hatch. One or the other. Seems like he's not even gonna look. I could have right-clicked. Probably should have right-clicked. Nothing over here. On the right. We got a cable. You can see that.
The concrete beam has broken off a piece of the wall here, and a few wires are sticking out. I think they're live.
Okay, so now can we insulate tape?
Better not now.
Can we insulate the wires?
Stripping the wires is a good idea. Holding on to the ladder at the same time is too. But doing both at the same time is pretty difficult.
Right, over here. We've got a grate.
Damn. Up there's the way out. But there's no ladder here.
He's not going to scream
guessing
for
that
help.
the room up there is the one behind the steel door. But I can't get at the grate.
So at least we know what the quest is. It's get this place flooded without electrocuting yourself.
Somehow I gotta get up there. Perhaps I could flood this pipe and swim up?
Yep, that's pretty obvious. And finally we're gonna get to flood something.
I'd better not touch them. An electric shock here could mean death.
Let's see. This with this.
No way. The gloves are such poor quality that I'd rather do without.
This with this.
I'll wrap the
Now
gloves
that
with
works.
insulating tape.
So maybe now I use the gloves on the cables.
It'd be best to bend the electric wires out of the pipe and into the tank room.
And so now we have to watch this
Get
slow
out of here.
animation.
All right, that's
Boy,
that.
was that glitchy. Glitchy. Alright. Again, we have to use the hatch and the hose, and the inventory's in the
All
way.
right then. I'll put the end in the opening.
Just very consistently a bad design. They should have just had the girder hanging down this direction, and then the hatch over in the background. And of course the pipe is now going up. And so now we can go over here. When we walk back, I guess we'll see if we can pick up any more dynamite or anything. We tried to connect to this outlet multiple times earlier, and now the game finally lets us do it. It's ridiculous. This is not the way to have a point-and-click adventure play. It's stretching out the gameplay for no reason. Can we open the outlet?
All right then. Let's flood the pipe.
Later.
That should be enough.
Yeah. I imagine I could have saved at least an hour in gameplay by if the game let me do the things I wanted to do, even if I didn't fully understand why I was doing them. I can get the A to B that the hose is going to
at the moment.
connect to the tank, even if I don't know where the other end of the hose is going to end up.
That was the last stick of dynamite.
And I guess I didn't check for any pictures. I wouldn't be super surprised if I electrocute myself as soon as I walk into this next room, because I was supposed to insulate the wires with the insulation tape, and this area was going to be slightly flooded.
The boat has lifted the gutter a little bit. Now there's enough space for me to get past it. As long as the beam stays up there, then I'm happy.
And nothing to take pictures of, I guess. I really shouldn't care about taking pictures. This is not a good enough game to justify getting all the collectibles. Very few games are, frankly. Even games built completely around that concept. Nowadays, I have no interest in that kind of stuff. Like, Super Mario Odyssey is probably a good example of a game where I would just want to get the... Interesting. It just skipped.
It won't work with that.
Well then, magnesium flares. And bam. died. Okay. Let's look at our inventory. Kind of feels like the audio. Maybe it was the wrench that was the thing I was supposed to use. Like another unnecessary death. It seems like because the first game had one and it was shocking, they decided to add more in the sequel 8 years later. I don't fully buy that idea. Like, I don't think that's a smart move.
Keep going, keep going. Just one more. Oh, that's it.
I don't know why he couldn't float, but for a few seconds. It seems very odd. And seriously, are we gonna be locked yet again in a room? Like,
just in time.
He seems to had maybe the water was going higher and higher, I guess, is the indication. It's kind of impossible to tell from this angle. I know at the very beginning of this game we were in the basement and we were kind of stuck in the basement for our own good, but everything after that point was
quite solid and around 5 yards long.
Very, very open-ended as far as where you could go and how you could interact. It seems like a completely different developer is now working on a completely different style of puzzles.
An old wagon, like what used to be used in mines. It appears to have been built to transport heavy loads. It looks very solid and heavy.
Apparently this drain does not connect to that sewer system at all, otherwise at this point water would be coming out of that. Drastic shift in the camera angles here.
A pile of stones. Most of the stones must weigh at least 60 or 80 pounds. They look really heavy. One of the wheels is missing. Perhaps that's why it was out of service.
So we're gonna improvise a wheel.
I've only just found the chain. I don't want to throw it away already.
That's crazy, because that's exactly what we should be doing, I think.
This room looks less like a bunker than the other one. More a combination of a bunker and a mine. Perhaps the builder of this bunker used a remote part of an old mine? The rock face gives extra protection, and less earth would have to be moved.
Like, this information is not interesting.
There's a crevice, a crack in the stone, about half a yard high. I can't really make out much, but the crevice seems to go up diagonally.
So
I'll just put the chain around 2 of the bars. If they're ripped out, I'll have enough space to climb into the crevice.
So apparently that's where we're going.
Now I need to fasten the other end of the chain somewhere.
To this old wagon.
The wagon's not gonna run away from me. There's no reason to chain it up. They look really heavy. They look really heavy.
Let's look at the gate. One assumes it's locked and you can't just leave.
Brilliant. I almost kill myself getting through the first door, and the next one's waiting a few feet on.
Yeah, pretty boring. Pretty boring to have 3 locked room puzzles in a row. Man. repetitive. Incredibly, insanely repetitive. Will this door now just unlock from the other end? Because at least that will indicate...
The bunker room's on the other side. Maybe the door can be opened from this side? The bunker room's on the other side. Maybe the door can be opened from this side? The bunker room's on the other side.
I'm trying. I'm literally trying to open the door. It's not working. Let's see. Screwdriver on the door. Wrench on the door. Part of the poem on the door. Magnesium on the door. Magnesium on that. Small piece of cloth. Lockpick on the door. That would be annoying. Knife. Let's see. All the way here. Let's just see if there's anything to take pictures of. I have a magnesium flare and an old chain.
The chain's a little rusty, but it still ought to hold a few tons.
And it's not supposed to connect to this or to this. So I'm supposed to do something with the wagon, I think, to fix the wagon. But I'm not sure what. And we have even less items now than before. Let's see. Can we go back?
I almost drowned just now, and I want that to stay as an almost.
So we can't go back.
I can't move the wagon as long as it's missing a wheel.
Just walk over here.
Whoa! Oh, damn it!
Jump scare got me.
The planks aren't quite as robust as I thought.
Wasn't expecting that.
Weird. One of the planks is broken. Fortunately, the others are thicker and have lasted. There's a shaft down there. I can't see the floor. I can just see darkness after a few feet.
I just keep going lower and lower. I feel like I'm gonna end up at the same place I ended up at the beginning of the... at the end of the last game.
I'll move the planks to the wall over there.
Frankly, in adventure games,
Still not much to see. The light only reaches a few feet down.
the floor breaking and you almost falling through it should happen, I imagine, a little bit more. This in there.
Get out of here. It's disappeared. I don't even want to know how deep that thing is. I'm definitely not gonna climb into it.
Okay. So now can I attach this to this?
It's of no use to me as long as the wagon just stands around.
Can we... like, we don't have any planks of wood. Or do we? Planks of wood.
The planks are of various thickness, and some are much more worn than others. Perhaps they're made out of different kinds of wood.
So if I
I'll
take a plank
one of the thick, solid ones.
and stick it under
I'll leave the rest.
Sorry. We stick it under the old wagon.
I can lift a stone like that, but I can't carry it around.
Okay. Wood. What's a stone? I don't have another plank of wood. I need some kind of something or other to use as a wedge.
I can lift a stone like that, but I can't carry it around. I can't move the wagon as long as it's missing a wheel.
The idea here is to
A sturdy,
make a,
thick timber plank.
I think what I'm supposed to be doing is making a teeter-totter.
The plank still seems pretty sturdy,
Lever.
but it won't be able to break the metal bars out of the concrete. I've put one end of the chain over the bars of the grate. A sturdy, thick...
I don't understand, game. I don't understand. Why are we just constantly on the wrong wavelengths with this? Like, this is... Let's go back up here. Let's see, over here. Find out a way. See, there's now a new thing. Perhaps the gate is again not the best way out. That might be a crevice, but it's gonna take immense force to rip the grate out of the wall. Or open the tank's lid. Apparently there was another thing we could have done there. Or climb out of the pipe. Apparently there's another thing there. The way they label these things are just pretty awful. Yeah, plank, 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 plank. Plank, 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 plank. Nothing. Chain. Chain, 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 chain. Chain, chain, chain. Just gonna have to try every single thing.
One end of the chain is already hanging on the two bars.
Screwdriver. It's not doing anything. Wrench. Is not doing anything. Poem is not doing anything. Small piece of cloth is not doing anything. Key. Let's see. We tried all of these, right? Super frustrating. Let's
I
look
put
at
one
everything.
end of the chain over the bars of the grate.
Just
The
look at
door is
everything.
closed and at least as solid as the first one. I can't see any way of opening it. Perhaps there's some kind of control room where you can open it. Who knows? The bunker room's on the other side. Maybe the door can be opened from this side? I can't move the wagon as long as it's missing a wheel.
Is there something that I can click
A
on?
pile of stones. Most of the stones must weigh at least 60 or 80 pounds.
Alright, we've got a button. A button. I missed this button, so. In missing the button, I cannot progress. And boy, at this angle, do you not see a button?
I bet it opens the door to the main room.
I'll press that. Well, that solves some things. Question, I guess, now is how many things can we pick up and do we need? A compressor?
The compressor's flywheel is about the size of the wagon's wheels, and it's fastened with 4 nuts.
Okay. So is there any reason right now in my head to even go back to the back room? I don't think there is. So
it would really be a coincidence if that fits, but I guess I need some luck sometimes too.
Like, unnecessary additions to the puzzle here. This is just all puzzle with no dialogue and no story.
Really fit. It's a little smaller than the other wheels.
Completely separate from the mostly story we've been doing up until this point.
It's of no use to me as long as the wagon just stands around.
Alright, can we now do this? Maybe.
I can lift a stone like that, but I can't carry it around.
Maybe I'm supposed to push the wagon first.
Let's see. It works! Damn it, that's it.
So now we put it on. Really wasn't.
I'll hook the chain under the coupling.
Way.
It's directly attached to the frame and should be able to hold plenty. That's it. The bars and the wagon are connected by the chain.
Now start moving the stones into the wagon wheels so this thing pulls.
The stones are adding
hits
real
you in the
weight,
face.
and I can barely manage to get them into the wagon.
This is really dangerous.
The wagon full of stones must weigh a good half a ton.
1,000 pounds.
Alright then. I just need to make sure to get out of the way quick enough as soon as the wagon falls.
Yeah, at least he's thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Good. Can we finally be done with this area? Like, we are still slightly off on the inventory. Like, I still have more inventory than I would have liked. But it seems like we're gonna be done. And maybe done with this act.
The 2 bars have been ripped clean out of the concrete. Now there's enough room to climb up through the crevice.
And this is the point where we get stuck and
Let's
die.
hope that the crevice leads to freedom.
There isn't really a lot of evidence that Angelina even ever reached this far or got anywhere close to this point. There really wasn't evidence she even got in the sewers.
Oh, god damn it! I crawl out of the trap and land in the Order's assembly room? Oh, this can't be for real. Fortunately, it looks like there's no one here.
Alright. So we've got banners, coats, and a wooden door. And a bowl. Let's grab a coat and put it on ourselves.
There's several folded cloaks lying in front of the chest. 5 or 6 of them. Does that mean this conspiracy is only made up of a handful of people?
It doesn't explain the 18 chairs that I see.
No clues. Nothing that might help me.
The thing too is this is the brother of the first game, the ancient brother. The one I think was the good guy, not the bad guy.
Is this some kind of assembly room? A club room for the local necromancy and black magic society. Okay. As soon as I found Angelina, I'm out of here.
There's nothing here to interact with. And no real reason why you would even he would recognize this person or get any information out of that. Let's see. Seems like there was an elevator. I wouldn't be surprised if this is right under the clock tower. Just unattended flames everywhere.
Huh. There's a fire burning in the dish. That means that someone was here not so long ago. Hopefully they won't be coming back as long as I'm here.
The thing that I'm mostly getting about all of this is, like, it doesn't feel like there's anything we could be doing when we go through this door. So I think we're just gonna escape without incident. And there's kind of nothing to take pictures of unless I was supposed to take some pictures of something before I looked at it. But I don't think that's how the system works.
Again. Why do I continuously find myself standing in front of locked doors? Ugh! Oh, hell. That's another way of doing it.
Okay.
Alright. Calm down now.
You have a screwdriver.
Angelina's still missing. Perhaps she's been used as bait in order to lure me here.
You could stab anybody.
Where's she now? Perhaps I should talk to Miss Valley again. She knows more than she lets on. The question is, what's with the order? I mean, who belongs to it?
There's a guy on the
What do
right.
they want from me? Ah! Oh.
Just poison darted him, and then my body jumped up again because of a glitch. I don't know if the door there is an indicator that the door was locked and he knocked on the door and it unlocked, or if he just didn't try the door to see if it was open at all. Getting more creepy things. Fire happening. Slightly debatable that my argument about this being a PG-13 game instead of the M game it probably should be. Yeah, it really should have been an M game. Like, this game, certainly the Black Mirror series, certainly didn't have popular appeal after the first game in the series, so going hardcore 8 years later would have been the right move.
Now where am I?
Going for the
free myself somehow.
Hard M rating.
Whoever it is comes back.
With more blood, more violence, maybe more cussing. Seems like there's been a decent amount of darn it's when it could have been a more natural. We've seen puzzles like this before where you're tied to a table. Indiana Jones.
A few
and
shards of glass.
Last Crusade.
Probably from the broken oil lamp. They're curved and relatively thick.
So we've got bottles, wooden strip, old cloth, and a white sheet. See if we can use this to cut ourselves free. All of our inventory is gone now, so let's just...
I can't reach it.
Alright, well then let's get this bottle
A
over
green
here.
plastic bottle. I can't see what it is exactly.
We'll just pick it up.
I'll shove it closer into the light.
What is it?
Huh. Kerosene. Judging by the weight, there's also still some in it. The furniture's been covered to protect it from dust. And taking a good look at it, I'd say nobody's been here for years.
Is this in the Black Manor castle? I mean, Black Mirror castle?
An old cleaning cloth. Quite obviously not been used for quite some time.
If it is, it's in the section we never saw in the first game. This could as easily be any other building in Willow Creek or even further. Let's see. Maybe use this with the piece of glass. Apparently I lost the piece of glass. Let's see.
I can't reach it.
Let's see if this works on the wooden strip.
A thin strip of wood. I think I can reach it. Got it.
So we're supposed to use those two together? Or use this on this? Or use this on this?
How am I supposed to wrap the rag around the shard using my feet?
I don't know. I don't know how any of this is
I wouldn't be
supposed
able
to
to
work.
cut through the ropes with the strip. It's rounded off and it's really too soft. Whoever tied me up knew what they were doing.
We
A
really
shard of
don't
glass,
need
possibly
so
from the
many
busted oil
puzzles
lamp.
back to back.
It's concave and relatively thick.
It really makes no sense that the game is so segregated between story at the beginning of the game and puzzles here later. What else is there even to click on? We've got kerosene lamp, window, and bottle of kerosene. Alright. This, and this, and this, and that, and that. That, and that, and that, and that. That, and that. So let's go look at the kerosene lamp.
Huh. An old kerosene lamp. Looks pretty big and heavy. The glass is missing. There's bright daylight streaming between the nailed up planks. How long was I out for? There's bright daylight.
It put the cloth back down on the ground.
I could try to cut the bottle open.
I guess that's what I'm doing. Broken Sword also had a section where you're tied up in a chair and have to do things. It seems like it's a somewhat common thing to have done, is have scenes where you're tied up. I assume this is directly from the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade idea.
I think I've got it all. The rag is now soaked in the kerosene.
But this feels less like an homage and
I better leave it there.
more of a just direct example of ripping off. Like, it's a rip-off if it's done poorly, and I think this is just not
Good.
done any differently
I'll hold the shard of glass in one of the beams of sunlight.
than what you'd expect.
I think it's doing it.
It's
The
nothing
shard focuses the light and
really
heats
crazy
a tiny
here.
spot on the material. Now that oughta... Wow. Way cool.
Okay, now are we gonna use the wooden strip on the burning rags?
Oh, okay. I have to get there.
And then
That looks better already.
Use the burning thing on the bonds. And burn the ropes off. Is he gonna put the fire out?
Ah, that's much better.
And then of course the question will become, there's tons more things to click on now, and do we get our inventory back? One assumes we get the camera back and some of the stuff, but it feels like the full act has finished. And I would say good riddance for the previous act, by far the worst act so far. But I'm not really holding out a lot of hope for this one either. Still very confused about the whole flashback thing. Like, did I get the wrong information? Does that happen in Black Mirror 3? Perhaps? Because I would say we're approaching 2/3 of the way done, 66% or so. And if that's the case, it seems odd that the last third of the game would be completely different. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, friend me on Steam, gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching,